Today, I'm going to be talking about 5 great ways to speed up losing body fat and repairing your body every single day. Because a lot of us actually want to accomplish both of those things: burn fat faster, heal faster. And so you want to know about some of these surprising strategies. So I'm going to give you 5 science-based ways to speed this whole process up. That's burn fat, heal faster, all with simple daily habits that you can actually do at home. All right. And of course, I'm going to tell you about the foods that are going to actually do that. And you might be surprised by some of them. So grab a notebook. If this is something you want to do, I'm going to give you information that's going to be packed with helpful tips. All right. Are you ready for the first food that can help you burn fat and accelerate healing? First food is avocado. Now, this is actually a delicious food that gets a bad rap for being high in fat, but in fact, it's actually just the opposite. There are healthy fats in avocado. These are called monounsaturated fatty acids. They've got the right kind of fat. This is exactly the kind of fat that you want because MUFAs, monounsaturated fatty acids, help you lower your body's bad cholesterol, all right, in the bloodstream. This has been shown by clinical studies. And not only does it lower the bad cholesterol, MUFAs in avocado raise the good cholesterol, the HDL cholesterol that you actually want. Down with the bad, up with the good. That's what the healthy fats in avocados actually help you do. And by the way, this is why avocados is good for heart health, because you have less bad LDL that can deposit cholesterol on the walls of your blood vessels to cause narrowing. Less of that, and you've got good HDL that can actually help get rid of the bad cholesterol, extra cholesterol in your body, which then lowers your risk of developing plaques in your arteries. But there's something more, all right? Avocado, MUFAs, the monounsaturated fatty acids that are good for your cholesterol, your blood cholesterol, they actually are combined with healthy dietary fiber. And avocado is packed with dietary fiber. It's a great way to actually improve your gut microbiome. But this healthy dietary fat also helps to lower your blood lipids as well. About 7 grams of fiber in an average avocado, all right, not only actually helps you lower cholesterol, but it also feeds your gut microbiome, makes you actually gut microbiome happier, healthier, and then they can actually lower inflammation in your body as well, right? So that's healing by lowering inflammation. You want to actually burn down fat. You want to make sure it doesn't build up. So manage your lipid levels, all right? And it's got the right kind of fat versus the wrong kind of fat. And it flips your cholesterol levels so you've got less LDL, harmful, bad cholesterol, more good cholesterol as well, all right? So overall, your metabolism is going to be more efficient. And efficient metabolism means that you're going to be better able to actually burn down harmful body fat while you're actually accelerating healing as well. Okay, lowering inflammation will help speed up healing. All right. Okay, so turns out that a good microbiome, by the way, by being fed with the dietary fiber, and this is research I've done, can also speed up healing in your body. We did an experiment with a colleague at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology where we actually were studying wound healing. And what we found is that if you actually got good, healthy gut microbiome, and we were actually using probiotics at the time, compared to animals that didn't have as good gut health, you could actually double the rate of healing as well. So the fiber in avocados, which helps the gut microbiome, can actually support accelerated wound healing as well. All right, that's from the inside out, by the way. Then one additional thing about the fiber in avocados, guess what? It helps you feel fuller when you eat an avocado. So at the next meal, you're less likely to overeat. All right, help you feel fuller for the meal you're eating the avocado on as well. But it's got this long tail to the feeling of satiety or fullness. So you're less likely to overeat the next time. By the way, what does that do? That helps you avoid that mistake that a lot of people make, even if they're intermittent fasting and exercising, which is overeating. So by cutting down your calories, you're also going to be able to lose fat faster. So avocado, all right, little thing that is so easy to incorporate into breakfast, lunch, or dinner, that actually helps you lose fat faster and also heal at the same time. All right? Okay. I hope, by the way, that little tip of information I just gave you helps you bust this myth that you shouldn't eat avocados because they're filled with harmful fat. It's filled with good fat, good fiber, great, by the way, bioactives. There's something called avocatin B in avocados. It's a bioactive natural chemical that actually helps your body activate its own fat burning mechanisms as well. All right. How do I use avocados? Well, one thing that you can do is if you like bread and you don't want to use butter, you can actually spread some avocado on it because it's kind of creamy. And you get this like nice, rich, creamy, like buttery kind of tasting topping onto your bread. If you want to really make this healthy, have sourdough bread as well. All right, that's a good choice of bread. So an avocado schmear on top of sourdough bread, that's actually a healthy combination. Sprinkle a little bit of sea salt on it. If you want it to be a little bit tastier and you like to zing and you want to zing up your metabolism, throw some chili flakes or tiny little ground up chilies on it. All right, squeeze a little bit of lemon. Lots of different ways to take basic avocado toast. Avocados on sourdough, a little bit of salt, a little bit of chili, a little bit of squeeze of lemon can really make it pop. All right, that's the key thing. You can actually make food feel indulgent while you're activating your health as well. All right, and what I was telling you, by the way, this is actually how to avoid butter on toast, but to actually really dress it up and make it healthier at the same time. This will actually help you burn down body fat, helps your metabolism get better, helps you avoid developing loading on extra body fat, and it also helps your lipids actually get better as well. The improved metabolism, healthier gut, helps you heal faster as well. All right. Okay, I'll give you another practical tip. When you're buying avocados, how do you get them? How do you choose the right one, right? You go to the grocery store, it's a big pile of avocados. Here's the right way to actually choose an avocado. So pick one. You want to know if it's basically ripening. All right. You don't want to get one that's like not anywhere close to ripening. All right. Pick one that's got the flesh. It's got kind of this hard, dark, purpley shell. Squeeze it a little bit. It should have a slight give. All right. When they have a slight give, they're getting close to being eaten. All right. They can't be too hard. So you got to have a little bit of squeeziness to it. All right, and if it's an unripe avocado, you want to take them home. You want to speed up the ripening process. Stick that avocado in a brown paper bag and stick a banana or something like that into it. A banana, for example, is going to emit a gas as its own as it ripens by itself. It's called ethylene. It's a natural gas that comes out of a banana. That will speed up the ripening of the avocado as well. And as soon as you can feel that give, it's getting ready to be eaten. So, make sure it's got a little bit more give. And peel it and eat it. All right. You want to be able to spread it the way that I just told you earlier. Okay. Ready for food number 2? Food number 2 to help you fight harmful body fat and heal at the same time is, wait for it, dark chocolate. All right. Dark chocolate is a food that does not suck. All right. Most people love dark chocolate. But I can explain this one. All right. Chocolate as a concept is a confection. It's a candy. It's made in a factory. I guess you can home make it yourself, all right? But it's often made, this candy is always made with a lot of added sugar, a lot of additives, a lot of emulsifiers. Go ahead and take one of those candy bars that you would get at Halloween and take a look at the ingredient label. It's got all kinds of stuff that you really don't want to have in your body. But this is where dark chocolate comes in. It's still a confection, but a lot of times dark chocolate is actually made with less stuff in it and less bad stuff, more good stuff. Still got to check the ingredient label, so make sure you're comfortable with what's in it. But dark chocolate has a lot of cacao. That's what makes dark chocolate dark. The darker it is, the more cacao there is. And cacao is a plant-based substance, right? So 70 or 80% cacao is what I look for when I look at chocolate, all right? And you can always find out what percent there is. It should be somewhere on the packaging if you're looking for dark chocolate. 80% is kind of what I go for myself. Now, that's a serious amount of cacao, all right? And it can be a little bit bitter, but that's actually part of the medicinal value. Bitter is better, right? You've heard that old saying. And if you have dark chocolate with like coffee, that's a great combination, all right? So that's just a way to think about it. Now, I want to explain the cacao and how cacao actually helps you burn off fat, but also helps you heal. Cacao, plant-based food, cacao is a plant. all right? And it's packed with polyphenols. One of the polyphenols is called proanthocyanidin. And guess what? Proanthocyanidin in cacao, all right, and what's used to make dark chocolate, actually has been shown to turn on a process called thermogenesis. What's thermogenesis? All right, let me explain it to you. The term thermo means heat, genesis means generating heat. So thermogenesis is basically saying that your body is able to generate heat. Now, why would you want that? Well, because the cells, the tissue that generates heat using thermogenesis is kind of a body fat. It's called brown fat, which is a good fat versus the bad fat, right? Remember I talked about cholesterol, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol? Well, your fat's the same way. There's good fat and there's bad fat. Good fat is brown fat. And when you eat dark chocolate, those polyphenols have been shown to turn on, ignite the process of thermogenesis in your good brown fat. And that in order to generate that heat, you know what actually happens? It actually has to steal the energy from your harmful white fat, especially visceral fat. So dark chocolate is a way to actually ignite your fat burning process, your natural fat burning process, using brown fat, and it burns down the energy stored in harmful white fats. It shrinks your white fat in a good way. So good fat fights bad fat. Dark chocolate will actually do it. But I got to tell you, you want to actually have dark chocolate in moderation, right? Because as I told you, it's a confection. But it's a really powerful tool for speeding up burning down fat. All right. Now, what about the healing part of it? Well, this is what's interesting as well. Those same polyphenols, the bioactives, the proanthocyanidins, they've been studied to actually stimulate angiogenesis and stimulate regeneration, which you need for healing. Angiogenesis is how your body grows blood vessels. If you cut yourself, you need new blood vessels to grow in to bring in oxygen and nutrients for healing. And stem cells, all right? Dark chocolate also stimulates stem cells. These are natural cells that are packed inside our bone marrow. We got 70 million of them when we're born. We use them all through our lives. They heal us from the inside out. These stem cells can regenerate tissues that are injured. Even if you don't know it, they can actually regenerate us from the inside out very silently, all right? So cacao, dark chocolate, okay, 80% or higher has been shown to be able to stimulate these stem cells. In fact, this one study that was done at the University of California, San Francisco, looked at a group of people who were in their 60s that had heart disease. So they already had poor blood vessels that needed to be repaired. And they gave them hot chocolate made with dark chocolate, like 80% or higher, to drink twice a day for a month. And they measured their stem cells, how many stem cells they had in their bloodstream at the very beginning of the study, and they measured it at the end. And having hot cocoa made with dark chocolate twice a day in older people who had known heart disease could double the number of stem cells in their bloodstream. Now, how do we know that made a difference? Well, they actually measured the resiliency or the stiffness of their blood vessels, right? Using a test called flow-mediated dilation, or FMD. That's where you put a blood pressure cuff on the arm, they blow it up, and now you're like basically cutting off the blood supply to the hand. All right, you feel some tingling. And then what they do is they relax it suddenly, let off the cuff, and now the blood comes rushing back. And what they measure actually is how resilient your blood vessels are to be able to take that new surge of blood as you're letting go of the blood pressure cuff. And it turns out that those people who actually were having hot chocolate made with dark chocolate twice a day for 30 days, they actually had better, not only stem cells, but they also had better resiliency or recovery or regeneration of their circulation as well. That's how we know that it works. All right. These stem cells, by the way, with dark chocolate, they come pouring out of your bone marrow like bees coming out of a hive. All right. And this is actually one way, clinical studies that we know. I always talk about clinical studies. I do refer to some lab studies sometimes, but at the end of the day, what I talk about is like what counts when it comes to people. All right. So dark chocolate, 80% or higher, good for metabolism, good for healing, something you can easily do at home. All right. Now, how do you actually make dark chocolate in a way that's healthy and easy to eat? Well, you know what? Remember like when you were a kid, you had like chocolate and nut bark? That's a great way to actually have dark chocolate. All right. If you want to have little pieces of it, you can break off and and nibble on, maybe with a cup of coffee. Black coffee is what I suggest. All right. So enjoy dark chocolate by making a dark chocolate nut bark. So you buy dark chocolate. If you get a big heavy block of it, it might be a little bit cheaper, but it's really hard to actually work with in a kitchen, right? So it's better to buy like slabs of dark chocolate or powders, even better. All right, melt it out on a cookie sheet, like a baking sheet. All right, and then sprinkle on top of it some mixed tree nuts. All right, so tree nuts are almonds, pecans, macadamias, walnuts, whatever you actually like. Actually, just get them plain. Get them bulk and get them plain. You want to roast them or toast them roast them in the oven or toast them lightly on a cast iron pan. That actually makes it even better. But just sprinkle these plain nuts, please, onto the melted chocolate. And you can crush them if you want as well. You want to crush it down, or you can have pieces of them as well. Crushed walnuts, crushed almonds. All right, and then what you do is you take the chocolate out, put it in the fridge, and let it set. All right, the next day you can actually have this like sheet of chocolate bark with that chocolate and nut bark. You can break off a piece and nibble on it. And again, I recommend doing it with some coffee. Why coffee? Guess what? Coffee's got something called chlorogenic acid. The chlorogenic acid in the coffee actually lowers inflammation, so it's good for your overall health. Been shown, by the way, to be associated with longevity. Drink up to 5 cups of coffee a day. Like that seems to be kind of a sweet spot. If you stay to under 10 cups of coffee a day, you won't dehydrate yourself. That's a kind of upper threshold, I would say. A lot of coffee, but 4 cups of coffee, you're probably staying within that. The chlorogenic acid activates your fat burning, activates thermogenesis, activates a brown fat, just like the cacao polyphenols do as well. So now you're doubling up with the coffee, all right? And chlorogenic acid is also good for stem cells. So now you're actually doubling up, adding back up to whatever the cacao polyphenols are doing for healing. Fat burning plus healing. You get what I'm saying? That's what this topic of this video is all about. A little break off a piece of chocolate bark, nibble on it. Now you get the dietary fiber from the tree nuts and the healthy monounsaturated fatty acids, just like avocado. But now from a tree nut, so tasty, right? Dark chocolate, tree nuts, coffee. My idea of a great snack that, by the way, the caffeine that's in coffee, also good for mental clarity as well. You need to concentrate on something. That's a good little tasty tip in order to go do it. Just remember, chocolate, no matter how it comes, is really a confection. All right, so you don't want to eat too much of it. Practice moderation. That's what I always say for anything, even healthy habits. All right. Want the third food for fat fighting and healing? Green tea. Now, I've written extensively about green tea in both of my books. I wrote a book called Eat to Beat Disease. All sections and sections on green tea on it. And I wrote about green tea in my book, Eat to Beat Your Diet. Green tea actually has got a polyphenol in it called a catechin, specifically EGCG. Want to pronounce it? Epigallocatechin 3 gallate, EGCG. Don't bother memorizing it. You should just know that people like me who study food as medicine, we got it down. All you need to know is that green tea, you sip it, it's actually good. What's the amount of green tea that's generally healthy for you? About 3 to 4 cups of green tea. Actually, that's the sweet spot. My great uncle, by the way, who lived to 100, drank 10 cups of green tea a day. And he attributed his longevity to green tea. These catechins, these polyphenols, are actually good for longevity, but they're good for fat fighting as well. All right. So EGCG in green tea, good for fat fighting. It causes thermogenesis. So it triggers your brown fat, which lights up, generates heat, draws the energy from white fat, shrinks down white fat. And by the way, the other thing that green tea does to fight fat is it cuts off the blood supply. Now, green tea was studied this way because you want to cut off the blood supply to cancer, for tumors, which also works. That's another extra benefit of green tea, is actually lowers the risk of cancer in some types of cancer. But also, the catechins have been shown to cut off the blood supply to growing fat. So this was done by a colleague at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, they actually had these obese mice that would get bigger and bigger, big fat mice. All right, they were like basically like little furry balls. You feed them green tea versus water, and guess what? They won't grow so fat. And the ones who had fat would actually start to shrink their fat as well. So we know from research studies that this actually works as well, and the mechanisms of action. Now, the other thing that's good is that EGCG, the polyphenol in green tea, is anti-inflammatory. Anti-inflammation is good if you're actually trying to heal, right? EGCG is also able to cut off the blood supply to bad tissues like cancer. But guess what? It can actually grow new blood vessels for healing. So wherever your body needs to heal, it's going to grow blood vessels to help heal it. It's going to lower inflammation. Wherever you don't want to have blood vessels, like in a tumor, the polyphenol in green tea knows exactly where to go and where to work. Your body actually sends it in the right direction, and it cuts off the blood supply to abnormal blood vessels as well. So this is an example of a food that actually can do two good things at the same time in opposite directions. You got to trust your body on this. Trust Mother Nature on this, all right? And of course, it burns down fat with thermogenesis using brown fat. By the way, I want to actually tell you a little bit about why brown fat is so interesting. Our body has two different kinds of fat. You've got brown fat and white fat, all right? And they do different things. White fat is kind of like a padding, right? You didn't have any fat in your body and you slip on the rug and fell on the floor, your organs might split open. So it's a good thing that we have a little bit of padding, right, in order for our body. White fat also creates a healthy hormone called adiponectin, adiponectin. Adiponectin is a super important healthy hormone made by your fat, white fat, that works hand in hand with insulin. Now, insulin is another hormone that's made by your pancreas to actually help bring down glucose, blood glucose, so you got enough energy, right? You talk about insulin sensitivity, important for health, longevity, and healing. Well, do you want your insulin to work well? You need some of your white fat to make adiponectin. All right, they're partners working together. So you want some fat. So white fat in a proper amount makes adiponectin. And white fat, by the way, also acts as a fuel tank. So when you eat food, it stores the energy, like the gas tank in your car. So it's a good thing. These are all good things with white fat. But when you have too much white fat, okay, it builds up. That's why you get the double chin, the fat under your arm, the muffin top, the fat on your thigh, the fat in your butt, the stuff you don't want. But let me tell you the stuff you really don't want. You don't want harmful extra white fat in the tube of your body, because that is where your guts are, your intestines and stuff like that, your other organs. And fat that grows inside the tube of your body is called visceral fat, because your guts are called viscera. So visceral fat is a white fat that can grow inside the tube of your body around your organs. When you eat too much of that, it's like fat that becomes like a glove that chokes your organs, and it becomes very inflammatory. So that's why green tea, by activating brown fat, steals the fuel from your white fat, especially your visceral fat, and you can actually burn down extra fat that way. That's why tea is good for burning down fat. Now, we talked about brown fat, but I need to give you a little bit more information on it. If white fat is wiggly and jiggly, okay, it's under your skin, like under your double chin, under your arms. Where's brown fat? Brown fat is not close to the surface. You can't see it in the mirror. Brown fat is actually close to the bone. It's around your neck, under your breastbone, a little bit between your shoulder blades, a little bit in your belly. And brown fat, you don't need very much of it to actually have powerful. But brown fat is like packed with these little tiny organelles. These are mini organs inside the brown fat cell, and they're packed with mitochondria. Now, you might have heard about mitochondria. Mitochondria are like little nuclear batteries, and they can generate heat, all right? You know how a watch battery is like really small? You can stick it in the back of a watch. Well, guess what? A mitochondria is like a nuclear battery that you can fit inside a cell. You know how small cells are? They are microscopic. And so this is the microscopic battery that gets fit inside your human cells in brown fat. And guess what? The mitochondria, actually, they're in all cells, but there are a ton of them in brown fat. Lots of them. Now, you know why brown fat is brown? Because the mitochondria, there's so much of it, makes it brown. Mitochondria, this little organelle, is actually packed with iron, and iron will oxidize, right? So what happens when you take a handful of iron nails and stick them outside on your porch for a few days? Those silver nails are going to oxidize and turn brown. They're going to rust. And that's what actually happens to your mitochondria. It's packed with iron. There's a lot of them. They oxidize, and now the mitochondria, which is so abundant in brown fat, when they oxidize their iron, that's why brown fat looks brown. Now you're never going to forget about why brown fat is brown, right? Think about rusty nails, but this is this little nuclear power pack that can actually fire up when you drink tea or avocados or have dark chocolate. That fires up that brown fat, which would then draw down the fuel from the harmful white visceral fat, especially. It burns down fat. Now, it's very, very important to understand that brown fat also reacts to cold. So if you're in cold temperatures, the brown fat will fire up as well. That's originally Mother Nature's purpose of this brown fat is actually in animals that are hibernating, they would actually fire up. They would eat fat all before hibernation. In the late fall and early winter, they turn into big fat balls, right? Think about the hibernating animal that waddles into the cage. Well, all winter, they're not eating. Where are they getting their energy from? They're getting it from the stored white fat. How are they staying warm? Brown fat actually fires up to keep them warm in the cave as well. All right. Now, how do we know that green tea burns down fat? Well, a study from the Isfahan University of Medicine in Iran looked at 70 women, okay, who had metabolic syndrome, so they had big waistlines, all right, and they just got 7 ounces of green tea. Now, 8 ounces is a fluid cup. 7 ounces, just short of a cup. They got tea to drink 3 times a day, right? So in Iran, they drink a lot of tea, and they drank it for 8 weeks, so 2 months. 3 cups of tea a day. Remember I told you the sweet spot's 3 to 4 cups a day. Half of the group got the tea. Another half of the group just got lukewarm water, all right? And at the end of the study, what they found is that the tea drinkers lost more weight. In fact, 2 pounds more weight. And their waist size shrank by 3/4 of an inch. Now, waist size, right? This is the tube of your body. Waist size, when you got visceral fat, it pooches out the waistline, expands the waistline. That's why you need to loosen up your belt holes, right? Okay, or get a bigger dress size. And that's what happens. But actually, at the end of this research study for 8 weeks, the waistline shrank because the visceral fat went away as well. The waist size shrank by 3/4 of an inch more than the placebo. All right. Now, the other thing that was beneficial is that with less body fat, guess what? The green tea also lowered blood pressure. It also improved blood glucose, right? And it also improved blood lipids, your blood cholesterol as well. So bad cholesterol went down, good cholesterol increased. So that's also really, really helpful. Green tea does all these extra things, but actually can help you burn down fat and improve healing. Now, another study by Tehran University in Iran looked at 63 men and women and found that drinking 4 cups of tea a day helped people lose almost 3 pounds over a couple of months, and also found that it would make their waist circumference decrease by 1.7 inches. That's a lot more, okay, with just 1 extra cup of tea a day compared to the 3 cups, the 4 cups actually got you more fat shrinking. And that makes sense. That means in this particular case, drinking 4 cups is better than drinking 3 cups, all right? Doesn't mean you should drink 20 cups a day, but 3 or 4 cups a day all works. And also for the people that drank 4 cups of tea a day, blood pressure actually went down by 6%, all right? Now, how do they make the tea for these research studies? They just took regular green tea in a tea bag and they steeped it in hot water for just 5 minutes. Now, why am I telling you this? Because the way that we actually prepare our tea, if you want those catechins, those polyphenols, they're trapped in the tea leaves, and in a tea bag, they're stuck in the leaves. So you want to actually make sure that you're dunking the tea bag, keep on dunking it, so every time you shake up those leaves, more of the catechins are going to come out. If you want to get a lot of catechins, all right, just get loose leaf tea. Now the tea is just going to be sitting in the water the whole time. You don't need to dunk it, not trapped in a bag. That's to escape a bag. It's just sitting in it, and you'll actually get polyphenols coming out of it. If you want the most polyphenols, you know what you do? You get matcha tea. Because matcha tea is just green tea, but it's ground up into a fine powder. So now you get all the polyphenols. There's like nothing left. There's no tea. Like when you get loose leaf tea, you're not chewing on a tea leaf. But in matcha, you are getting everything into a fine dust. When you drink it, the whole shebang goes down your throat. You get all the polyphenols. All right. So that's actually what I would actually tell you is that matcha actually has even more polyphenols. And a study at the University of Chichester in the United Kingdom looked at matcha tea, and they found that actually 4 cups of matcha tea over a day could increase fat oxidation, which is fat burning, by 35%. That's a lot, all right? Okay, so it means that when you're drinking green tea, your body's burning down stored fat. There's even more benefit because the catechins in it, in green tea, are also preventing new fat from forming. There's also fiber in matcha because you get a lot of dietary fiber in there, and you're activating your gut microbiome. You're actually lowering inflammation as well. So this is a way of actually, and by the way, the green tea can actually help protect your stem cells that are necessary for healing as well. Also lowers inflammation, which is helpful for healing. So again, green tea, fat burning, lower inflammation, improve healing, support healing. This is actually what I really love to talk about. I generally recommend people get whole leaf green tea. This is what people in China do, for example. Go ahead, just put a handful of tea leaves into the bottom of your cup, pour some hot water on it, sip on that, 3 or 4 cups. You just keep on getting more polyphenols out. You don't want to have the leaves there. It's like too much of a pain for you. Get a tea ball, a metal one, please. Not plastic, a metal tea ball, and load the teacups in there and just like sit it into a teapot. That's another great way. By the way, it doesn't have to be only hot tea. It could be even iced tea. Iced tea also works. And by the way, here's another benefit of green tea. It's good for brain health. You know why? Because there's another bioactive in tea, like green tea, that's called L-theanine, Theanine. Now that's an amino acid that when you combine that with caffeine, that's been shown to improve focus and alertness, all right, for brain health. So many benefits, right? Not surprisingly, green tea is one of the most popular beverages in the world after drinking water, right? And I call green tea part of the holy trinity of beverages, meaning these are things that are just good for you. Drinking water, green tea, and coffee. The holy trinity of beverages, we're talking about green tea right now, keeps you metabolically healthy, lowers inflammation, helps you burn body fat, supports healing. That's what we're talking about.
Hey there. Have you heard of intermittent fasting? I'm sure you have. It's not what you eat, but it's about when you eat. And I've got a simple guide to help you get started with intermittent fasting. If you're looking for an easy way to boost your energy and improve your health, and maybe shed a few pounds along the way, this could be the perfect solution for you. In my guide, I'm going to show you how fasting helps your body burn fat and also repair itself. It's an easy thing that you can do effortlessly every single day. Plus, I'll give you tips on how to succeed with intermittent fasting. And I'll tell you the science behind why this works. Just click the link below to grab your free copy. Or scan the QR code on the screen right now. Now, let's get back to the video.
All right, my next food I want to talk about, food number 4, pomegranate, right? Now, you've probably heard me talk about pomegranates before. Pomegranates are loaded with polyphenols. One of them is called elagitannins. Elagitannins actually are great for gut health because this bioactive elagittannin makes your gut secrete healthy mucus. Got to have some mucus in your gut, right? Because you got stool, poop in your gut. It's got to keep moving its way all the way to the tailpipe, right? What happens if it doesn't move? It gets stuck, and that's constipation. Mucus, which is natural and healthy, secreted by the gut, actually helps the poop go all the way down. But the mucus has another function, which is that it actually helps to feed certain healthy gut bacteria, one of them being Akkermansia. Akkermansia is a healthy gut bacteria that helps your metabolism. It helps you burn fat, body fat. It helps, looks like it helps reduce dementia. It helps, good for brain health. And it actually helps your immune system fight cancer, particularly if you're receiving a cancer therapy called immunotherapy that depends on a good immune system, right? So this mucus is really, really important. So you want to grow as much mucus as possible, having pomegranate, eating the seeds. That's where the juice is. That's where the elagitannins are in the juice. That actually can actually help to your body make your body secrete this mucus that is actually good for your metabolism. Because Akkermansia, this bacteria, this healthy bacteria, you can get it as a probiotic, but your body can you can grow your own. You need that mucus secreting. Pomegranate can actually do it. Pomegranate seeds, the juice around it, pomegranate juice itself can also help to grow Akkermansia. Very, very important. All right. Now, this bacteria can actually help you lose body fat as well. One clinical study looked at 20 healthy adult volunteers and gave half of them just half a cup of 100% pomegranate juice, all right, every day for 30 days. Now, you got to be careful about this because pomegranate juice itself is very, very sweet. Half a cup, almost nothing. That's like 2 shots worth of pomegranate juice. Your body can handle that amount of sugar, all right? The other group of this clinical study actually just received a placebo drink. And at the end of the study, what the researchers found is that the pomegranate drinkers lost 1.1 pounds and reduced their body fat by 1.4%. All right. And by contrast, the placebo drinkers actually gained 2.2 pounds and they increased their body fat by 1.1%. So the placebo drinkers, their weight went up, their body fat went up. The pomegranate drinkers, their weight went down and their body fat went down as well. So it actually went in opposite directions. Now, again, I want to say pomegranate juice is quite powerful in terms of these adaptogens, but be very, very mindful of the amount of natural sugars that are there. Very sweet. All right. So if I wouldn't drink more than 1 cup, 8 ounces of pomegranate juice every day if you want to, try to grow healthy mucus. More than 1 cup. And I'm not talking about a tall glass. I'm talking about a fluid cup. So go ahead and take out a measuring cup, like a baking, like you use for baking, a measuring cup, and just look at 1 cup of pomegranate juice and pour that into the glass if you want to find out how much I'm actually talking about. Don't fill up the whole tall glass. All right. That's enough to get Akkermansia growing in your gut. Now, the other benefit of eating pomegranate is that those same polyphenols are also anti-inflammatory, which is a major problem when you've got excess body fat, so especially visceral fat. So basically, you want to burn down that harmful visceral fat with pomegranate juice, which grows Akkermansia, which will burn down harmful body fat, right? So pomegranate seeds, by the way, are a way of actually getting the same elagitannins without all of that sugar in it. You'll have some sugar, but you won't down it. You can't gulp it. You got to eat those seeds, all right? Here's one way I like to use pomegranate seeds. Put them on a salad. They're really beautiful. Sprinkle them on a salad. Add some walnuts. You got like walnuts plus pomegranate. These are 2 salad enhancers that pack a punch for your metabolism and fat-fighting punch as well. Walnuts, by the way, have some healthy omega-3s, plant-based omega-3s, which lower inflammation. And guess what the omega-3s do from walnuts? They trigger fat burning from brown fat through thermogenesis. So you get the gist of what I'm talking about here right now, right? Okay. These are foods like pomegranates that actually help burn fat and also help you heal as well. Elagitannins lower inflammation, which supports healing. All right. So, by the way, if you're going to buy pomegranate juice at the market, please look at the ingredient label and make sure it doesn't have other stuff added to it, because so many pomegranate juices are not 100% pomegranate juice, like mostly apple juice or maybe some other inexpensive juice, and it does have some pomegranate in it, but you want to get 100% pure pomegranate juice if you're going to get the juice. Otherwise, just get ripe pomegranates as well, all right? Now, one last food for this video, all right, one of my favorites, chili peppers. Now, I'm somebody who likes spicy food. I like spicy tomato sauce. I like a bowl of chili, like bean chili. I like it a little spicy. All right, I like salsa. I like medium, maybe not super fiery like atomic hot salsa, but I like a little bit of zing. And when I cook, I always have in my kitchen a little jar of dried chili flakes. And in my fridge, I have some chili paste. So that zing is really good for your metabolism. Now, I only add a little bit, all right, because I don't want too much. But at the end of the day, it's all about flavoring the dish to my taste. All right, so what's the connection between chili peppers and fat burning? Well, it turns out that the spicy kick that you get from chili peppers comes from a bioactive, natural substance called capsaicin. Capsaicin, capsaicin. Now, capsaicin triggers brown fat to undergo thermogenesis. And here's how it works. When you have something spicy, let's say you have some salsa, Put it in there. All right. You get this like spicy zing in your tongue. All right. Now that zing actually is this capsaicin from the chili activating a receptor on your tongue. It's like a light switch on your tongue. It pushes that white light switch. All right. And that light switch in your tongue is called the TRPV1, TRPV1 receptor. And once that receptor, that button gets hit by the capsaicin, that TRPV1, that button sends a signal to your brain. It tells your brain to release a neurotransmitter. All right. That neurotransmitter is called norepinephrine. All right. That norepinephrine is a neurotransmitter. It sends it down your nerves, down your neck. You can, in fact, if you eat chili and close your eyes, you actually feel that neurotransmitter going to work. And that neurotransmitter goes right to the brown fat on the side of your neck, down into your chest, fires up the brown fat. And now you start to burn down harmful visceral fat because thermogenesis is turned on. All right. And you'll start losing harmful body fat, that visceral fat. Now, the other thing is that capsaicin also lowers inflammation, which you might be surprised at. You might think, man, that thing is spicy. It must be causing inflammation. That's what I used to think too, by the way. But actually, as it turns out, capsaicin actually lowers inflammation. And by the way, I write all about this in my book, Eat to Beat Disease. I'll put a link in the description below of this video if you want to actually get my book to read it. I discuss how reducing inflammation is one of the most important things that you can do because it activates one of your body's health defense systems to improve and protect your overall health, right? So check out my book if you haven't read it yet. And by the way, excess body fat, especially visceral fat, causes inflammation. So enjoying some spicy food could be just what your doctor ordered for metabolic health. By the way, I wrote another book called Eat to Beat Your Diet that talks about brown fat and chili and it's got recipes in it and how to actually use it and a lot of other things that can cause brown fat thermogenesis as well, besides chili. If you don't like something spicy, don't worry about it. I got like 200 foods in there that all help you burn harmful body fat. All right. Okay, I hope you learned something from this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video. Dr. Lee, out.
Hi there. If you enjoyed watching this video, I know you'll love the next one. Stay here and check it out, and I'll see you there.